right. I have been very much against it. This is a family ski area. And if the kids grow up and they learn how to spell marijuana, ask their mother. And if anybody tells it, well, it's medicinal, it's for good for like medicine. And then they ask you, how do you spell opioids? I hear that too, Mama. What does that do? Anyway, I am so against it. But somehow this week, it came to me that people that have businesses here, especially restaurants and bars, you notice that Aspen gets a lot of traffic because they can buy the marijuana and eat there. Now, don't be surprised if you get a lot of restaurant owners that are really pushing the marijuana, and I'm sure they're doing it.
So are lodging.
It's logic. Now what? What do you say to your kids? It's business.
Thank you for those comments. I just need to move on to the next speaker, and thank you so much for your
My pleasure.
presentation.
Just one quick question.
You have one last question? If you can make it quick. Yeah.
Is it about marijuana?
No, that's at City
Speeding,
Council.
parking, anything else?
My question has to do with bicycles, not riding on the bike paths and riding on the roads. I understand that the law is they have the right to be on the road also, but can we do a lot of signage to strongly point them towards the, is there anything we can do? Signage, anything?
We can. There's a balance between what the community will accept in terms of signage and what's effective. And I actually just had a suggestion last week about getting some signs in the village that show the distance that you're supposed to be when you pass a biker, when you're in a car. It's 2 or 3 feet, I should know that. But some better signage, absolutely. I work very closely with Ann Martins from Public Works on lots of topics, and this is something that I'll bring up with her. It's a struggle. I live here and work here, and so I experience it on both levels. We try to educate bikers about the bike paths when we can, but sometimes that can be a really sensitive topic to broach. They don't. I agree with all of that. It's some people definitely are happy that we point out there's a bike path 20 yards away. Other people don't want to hear it because they have just as much right to others. So it's a balancing act for us, and we try our best. But I will talk with Ann next week about some signs and see what we can do.
Has a biker ever been given a traffic ticket in this town, ever?
I can't answer that
But you have a card.
100%, but I have a hunch that yes.
I've never seen it. At least been talking.
Well, we don't pull them over, but I mean, if we have an accident that involves a biker that is failing to yield or something like that, we treat it like a motor vehicle.
Aren't they supposed to stop at stop signs? Like
Absolutely they are. It's not like Aspen made up some weird thing a few years ago where that if there's nobody in the intersection, bikers are allowed to roll the stop signs. So it's one of those things that we address as we can and as we experience it. I feel your pain.
Okay, thank you so much, Sergeant Heavely. That was very informative. I appreciate that, and thank you very much. Before we jump to our next speaker, I did want to just echo the sentiments of the gentleman in the second row. If you have an opinion about any of these issues we're talking about, please, especially if you're a part-time resident and don't have an affirmative vote in this county, please voice your opinions, because otherwise I don't know how well they're heard. So voice them to us or town council, and I know town council and the mayor in particular are open to hearing that. So having said that much, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. He is with East West Partners, Andy Gunyon, and he's going to talk about Base Village construction updates, especially regarding Building 6. And I saw him here a moment ago.
I'm not Andy Gunyon.
No, you're not.
His colleague.
But you're taking care of it.
There you go. So
You're good.
we'll hop into it in a second. All right. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Pete Gergen. I'm not Andy Gunyon. Andy's a little taller, a little better looking, but you're stuck with me for the afternoon. So it's my understanding we have about 10 minutes and then maybe 5 minutes for questions.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. So we have a lot that we've been working on. Again, my name is Pete Gergen. I'm the CFO of the East West Partners office here in Snowmass. We're working on the Base Village project right across the road. And imagine if some of you haven't been in town for a little while, every time you come back, there's a little more. And so hopefully that's a good thing. We're certainly excited about it. Okay.
I can drive for you.
All right.
That's not gonna work.
Okay, so our firm was born in the Vail Valley. We won't spend a lot of time on kind of background on us, but I should say the other valley. And this is a project that really brings us back to our roots in the Colorado Mountains. We have offices now from Hawaii to Charleston, and so we're really fortunate to be a part of this community now. We have an incredible partnership that you all know of. Aspen Skiing Company is one of our partners, along with KSL Capital. They're a firm out of Denver. And so roots in the community here, obviously, a lot of history in the community, a lot of history with this project as well with Aspen Skiing Company. And we really don't think we could have a better partnership to take this on and to complete the vision of Snowmass Base Village. We have a large team in Snowmass. These are some of the people that we have on the development side. We also run a company called Snowmass Mountain Lodging, which has 75 employees in its own right. And then we also own and, to a degree, operate the Viceroy Hotel here in town. So we have a pretty substantial presence. And we also have a sales team on board. They're over in Base Village. Our offices are over in Base Village. So please feel free to stop by, and you can pop in on us anytime. We're in Capitol Peak Building C, and then our sales office is in Capitol Peak Building A. And so if you're in Base Village, feel free to stop in. We have a full-size, rather a scaled version of the model of the village in our sales office, and we have some pretty fun VR tools and things that you can play around with. So we'll get into what we're actually doing. As you all know, Lot 1 is the shaded lot there that was completed in 2006-07. On the far left side of the screen there, Lot 9 is the first phase of the Viceroy. I say the first phase because at some point in time, we will be undertaking the development of the second phase of the Viceroy Hotel. What we're working on at the moment, and what we've really been cranking on since December of 2016 when we showed up in this community and acquired Base Village from Related, are Lot 2 and Lot 3. And so that is the Limelight Hotel, which is a 99-room hotel, 11 condominium units. Lumen, which is Aspen Four Mountain Sports Store. And we have a little crepe shop going in there. And then we also have 3 condominiums, as well as the ice skating rink, public plaza, in the community building, Building 6, which we're happy to talk about and answer any questions about later. And One Snowmass is the next phase of our project that we're also under construction on. So the plaza, we have some renderings here. We can kind of run through them fairly quickly, but you see Building 6 is the community building, kind of on the back side of the ice skating rink there. You have a fire pit in front of that building. We're going to have plenty of fire pits, plenty of warmth there in the winter for people to hang out and enjoy themselves. And then in the background there, you see One Snowmass. And so Building 7 is on your left, Building 8 is on your right. The Limelight Hotel is on the right-hand side. You can see one of their spa pools, hot tubs that we're under construction on as well. And you can get a different view of it from here. The building on the right is Lumen. And so that's the building with a crepe shop. You can see it kind of in the bottom right corner of that building, which we think is going to be a really fun addition to the village. We have a local operator on board that I think you guys will be excited about. We're not quite at a point where we can announce who we're working with, but feel really excited about that. And then Aspen Four Mountain Sports is on the lower level of that building on the right there. So just another view of the plaza. Obviously, during the summer, one of the things that we're working on is what is the ice skating rink going to be? And so we have turf that we'll put down from time to time. We're also playing around with the idea of roller skating sometimes on the ice skating rink because there's a concrete foundation underneath what would be the ice. And so we're pretty excited about the summer opportunities there as well. On the plaza, we are making a lot of progress. These are some drone shots that we received approval to get. And you can see the outline of the ice skating rink there in the middle, and Lumen is on the left-hand side, Building 6, the community building, on the right-hand side there. We're still on track for substantial completion in November 1. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we're going to be able to make it. So Building 6, the community building, obviously it's been a point of a lot of discussion in the community over the past handful of years at this point. And we're really thankful that we're in a position now where we're working towards a lease. We have a letter of intent with the town. So we're building this building. We're then giving it to the town on November 1st. And then we will be master leasing it back and essentially completing all of the tenant improvements for the building. And so we're working to identify a food and beverage operator for this building. We have the community flex hall space as well on the plaza level of the building that kind of spills out onto the ice skating rink. And then we have on the lower level, which you can kind of see here, we call this the arrival level, because this is a shot that's kind of right from Building 7, One Snowmass, which is the transit center that you would come up from if you were to arrive on a bus or get dropped off at Base Village. And so on this level, we have a game lounge for kids, which we think will be a great spot for families to be able to park kids, maybe enjoy a meal, a drink upstairs, and have a little time to themselves, parents, grandparents, or just have a family interaction down there in the game room. And then also a focal point of this is the Snowmass Discovery Center, which the group that's been working on that for some time in conjunction with the town is going to have a permanent home in Building 6, the community building there. So you can see again a drone shot of Building 6, substantial completion again of that of November 1st, and then we will continue work on that building probably through the summer of 2019 as we complete all of the tenant improvements on the F&B space, on the Discovery Center, the game lounge, and then also the community flex space. The Limelight Hotel, we're well under construction on. We're doing punch on some of the hotel rooms at this point, which means we're getting close on some of those spaces. 99 hotel rooms, you guys are well aware of what that has the potential to do in this community. It's a living room for people in Aspen, also in Ketchum, where Aspen Skiing Company has a Limelight Hotel. We're thrilled about the possibilities of what it's going to do for us. So we can just flip through some of the renderings. As you can see, I mean, really cool, more modern design on the interior. The Mountain Club is something that Aspen Skiing Company obviously is making a focal point now of Snowmass. There's a version of it in Aspen, 228 members of this Mountain Club. They are trying to find who those 228 people are going to be at the moment. The guest rooms, you could, if you wanted a tour, we could probably arrange one for you. You could go up and see some of these guest rooms that are getting pretty close at this point in time. So we also have condominiums. 11 of them were over half sold at this point in the Limelight, and so we're really excited about the progress there and continue to think that that's going to be a really incredible place for people to enjoy. And so Limelight, same story as the rest of what we're under construction on right at that plaza. Substantial completion November 1st of this year. Lumen is the other building that we have right on the plaza. 3 residences, 4 mountain sports, as well as the micro retail crepe shop that we talked about. And so you can see some of the renderings of the penthouse of Lumen. It's a beautiful space. And again, November 1st, substantial completion. and we'll keep going. So one Snowmass is the building or the buildings that you see kind of from the traffic circle as you arrive. It used to be the transit center and the arrival building. We have since demoed the facade of that building, and we're now going back up with building 7 is on your right-hand side, building 8 on your left-hand side. We'll have 11 fractional residences in building 8, and between building 7 and building 8, 30 whole ownership residences for sale there. We'll have a medical clinic as well as a substantial amount of retail space.
Could you just speak into the mic, sorry?
Sure. Oh, that's a little different. So you can see some renderings of one Snowmass from the plaza level, and then renderings of some of our residences at one Snowmass. So moving in a more contemporary design there. Building 7 of one Snowmass is going to be complete sometime in the spring, summer of 2019, and then building 8 on the left-hand side, which is the larger building, will be complete in the fall of 2019. We give a quick shout out to our contractors. R.A. Nelson is working on the Plaza, Limelight, Lumen, and Building 6. And then Hazelden is working on Building 7 and 8, one Snowmass. And so we're really fortunate to have a good relationship with those guys. In addition to everything that we're building from the ground up, we've also been refreshing the Viceroy Hotel. We added a cafe that's really more for hotel guests, but it's a beautifully designed cafe. We refreshed the restaurant, Toro. I'm not sure if you had a chance to go in there yet, but it's amazing food, amazing cuisine, a cool ambiance and atmosphere there. And then we refreshed the lobby, and we're working through a refresh of the outdoor space and have a pool bar out there now, and then we will continue to work on that space and add some new hot tubs, and it'll be pretty nice. We're also working through a refresh of the rooms at the Viceroy. And so that's a hotel that was finished in 2009. It still looks great, but we feel like there's a little bit of sprucing up that we can do at this point in time. And so we're working through that with the homeowners, and I think that's going to be a really great project for us as well. This is, as you know, the site, what it looked like for 8 years probably. And it's been a fairly drastic change from May of 2017 when we started construction to today. If we go to the next slide, you can kind of see all of the work that's well underway. So we're grateful to be a part of this community now, and would love to answer any questions that you guys have, and certainly appreciate all the support that you guys have given us so far.
Pete, we had an earlier question that I'm going to ask Bob to kind of repeat for us now about parking.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying during the daytime to go over and try to use the parking garage. It's full of trucks, and I assume those are primarily construction workers' vehicles sitting in the parking garage, to the detriment of people who want to come in and use restaurants in Base Village and the mall. I would urge that that space be freed up so that customers who can support the businesses who have been struggling in Base Village for X years can have a little better shot at making a little bit of money and staying with us. Now, quite frankly, I think it's very inappropriate that construction guys can take up parking space like that. They could certainly park over at Two Creeks and be shuttled over.
Sure.
And just on that same note, Pete, I've had part-time residents send me photos of equipment, taped off spaces, materials in the parking spaces, and things like that. And a lot of people are upset that the parking is so scarce at the Base Village right now that it's being apparently used for ancillary construction needs. And so I would just request, I don't know if there's a plan in place, but that you all look at some kind of plan to relocate equipment, materials, and parking for workers to a lesser used location. There's a lot of sort of ancillary space where buildings will soon go. Some equipment's there, but on behalf of the residents that have been communicating with me, I think there's a real need that be relocated and spaces freed up just for people to park and support the businesses. So
Sure. No, I appreciate the question and the concern there. And, as as I've been able to utilize the parking garage over the summer, one of the things that we've noticed is it's pretty amazing how full it is. And to the best of my knowledge, so there are areas of the parking garage that are not open to the public and have not been open to the public because really there's not adequate egress from those areas. And so that's kind of the condition of the parking garage right now. And so first, no contractors, to the best of my knowledge, are using any of what you would consider public parking spaces at this point in time. There are areas that contractors are parking that are back behind certain gates that the public can't park in at this point because it's not deemed safe to the public. And so those areas of the garage, and I want to say it's probably about 40-ish% of the parking garage. Some of it's underneath where the Limelight Hotel would be, and there are some other areas that really just the public has never accessed. And so in November of this year, when the Limelight comes online, really probably in like January when the Limelight truly comes online as an open hotel, that's when those areas will become open to the public. So the kind of staging and that type of thing that the contractors are doing, we're very sensitive to it, and they should not be doing any of that, and I don't think they're doing any of that in areas where kind of residents or guests of commercial businesses could park.
I can only comment that last summer, there was plenty of parking in that garage.
Yeah.
And this summer, there's none. Now, the only difference that has happened around here is there's a lot of construction workers around. I'm suspicious enough, I've got enough gray hair to be suspicious, that it's not as pristinely pure as you think it is. And I would suggest maybe should take somebody should do a little survey down there, just kind of watch what's going on, because quite frankly, we really need to try to encourage the businesses that are there and support them. And it's not happening because there's no parking. Now, and I don't think the general tourist population has increased that significantly between summers.
Yeah. So we certainly take note of that, and we do monitor it on an ongoing basis. We have a full construction management plan that we work with the town on and we work with residents on. And so we certainly want to support the businesses in Base Village. I do think there are a couple things that have changed. One is the Lost Forest has been really successful for Aspen Skiing Company. So that was a push for summer business. I think you're seeing a lot of that, right? You're seeing people show up and take advantage of what's up on the mountain now. And then I also think that the mountain biking trails continue to get better. And if you walk through Base Village on a daily basis, as we do, there are a ton of mountain bikers in the village now. And so so I'd say it's a good thing. And we absolutely will continue to look at that. And I'll go back to our construction team and make sure that we're on it.
Any
Sir.
other questions?
I'm sorry, 1 second. Thanks.
Talked about substantial completion. When do you expect the Limelight to open and the other building to open? You said the building 6 wouldn't be really completed till the fall of 2019 or the summer.
Yeah, so the Limelight Hotel right now, it looks like, will open to the public. They're taking reservations right around the first of the year at this point. And so that's a date that we're kind of holding to at the moment. If we can push it up, we will. And then Lumen is one where for Mountain Sports, we think that they'll be open for the majority of ski season. I think they should be open for all of ski season, but they have some tenant improvement work to do, and so that's something that's not entirely in our hands. And then the community building, it is a great question because we're delivering the core and shell of that building by November 1st. And then the tenant improvement work that we're going to be doing, we need to identify a food and beverage operator. So the process that we're undergoing with the town is one that started maybe a little bit later than everybody would have loved to have had happen because there have been so many iterations of what was happening with that building. And so that is something where the core and shell will be done in November, but then we'll have, depending on the timing of the restaurant operator, probably some construction going through the spring and then maybe even into the summer, depending on when that operator really feels good about starting business, right? Like starting in the fall doesn't really make any sense. So we'll see how that plays out.
We have
Yes.
a question in the rear, at the
Yeah.
door.
And I am, no, bikers don't want to share trails with hikers, and hikers really don't want to share trails. And it's very confusing who has a right of way, and it seems like there are really no designated hiking trails. Just a concern.
Sure. And so I think I hike and run and bike and do all those things too, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. And so it is a little confusing. I think the town does a great job of their signage and really works on it hard with the Rex district to make it as clear as possible for people. But I absolutely hear you. If you hop on a trail, sometimes you don't know if you're going to have a mountain biker on your back. So I don't really know. It's not in our purview to really change the signage on the trail system in Snowmass, but I think they work really hard at it and do really a good job. But if there are specific things or trails maybe that you're thinking of that might need a little bit of work, I'm sure the town would be happy to talk with you, or the Rex district maybe. I'm not sure who's in charge of that.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Quick one.
We have one question up front. Travis?
Uh,
You got one here?
Just a quick question. The ice skating rink, is that scheduled to be open to the public, or is it restricted to people in the Base Village area?
No, so anyone can come and enjoy the ice skating rink. Yeah, so no restrictions whatsoever on that.
Okay, this will be the last question then.
Promise. One Snowmass Building 7. A good assumption you'll have the bottom of that open as part of the transportation center, as it has been in the past for ski season.
Yes, so as I have heard absolutely nothing to the contrary to that, and so my assumption is that it will be open for the entirety of the ski season this year.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Pete.
you all.
We really appreciate your updates and
Thank you.
putting up with us. And
No,
and,
we appreciate
very good
it.
to have your feedback.
Really do.
Thank you so
if
much.
there's anything more that we can do, just let us know, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next two speakers are from SkiCo, and they're here to talk about winter snowmaking on Snowmass Mountain, especially at Two Creeks, and summer mountain activities beyond Elk Camp. And we are pleased to welcome Katie Earlt. I'm not sure I said that right, but anyway, she's a senior VP of mountain operations for SkiCo, and she's going to talk to us about the snowmaking aspects. And Susan Cross, who's the mountain manager at Snowmass, and she'll talk to us about summer mountain activities. Welcome. Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
You can drive with this.
Sure. It's a little bit short. Hi,
My size.
my name is Susan Cross, and after a 7-year hiatus over at Buttermilk, I'm back at Snowmass, and I'll be taking over for Steve Sewell. We're working in conjunction right now, and we're kicking him out the first of the year, and then I'll be taking over. So happy to be back. Happy to see a bunch of familiar faces in this room, and thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
So I'll just spend a couple of minutes, and maybe I don't need the mic.
Actually,
You're on TV. Video.
I do?
yeah, we do
Okay.
need you on the mic.
Is it
sorry.
hearing?
Video.
Can you
Yeah.
hear okay?
It's for the live stream video.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I have to point
It's not
this
working?
way?
I lied to you? Sorry.
That's okay.
I will just drive from
Run
here.
it. Lost Forests. How many people have been up to the Lost Forest? And happy with it? Great. We've had a terrific summer so far. The Lost Forest product includes the climbing wall that just opened about a week and a half ago. Oh, sorry, didn't want to block the pictures. And the coaster and the challenge course. And if you've partaken in any of those events, it's been a great hit. People are really excited to be there. Numbers are showing it. I heard you speaking about the parking garage. We're happy to have that many guests showing up to partake in our activities. Mountain biking trails, we added French Press. I don't know if anybody in here is a mountain biker, downhill mountain biker, but French Press opened a couple weeks ago, and that's the newest addition to our downhill mountain bike trails. The woman in the back, I think she may have since left, mentioned hiking versus biking. Not sure if she's talking about on the mountain or some of the trails off the mountain. So, on the mountain. We have designated downhill mountain biking only on some of those trails so that there's no uphill hiking or biking. And I think that signage is pretty good. If it's, we'll take a look and see if we need to update anything else. But Vista Trail, Summit Trail, Sierra Club Loop, and Rabbit Run. Those are on the El Camp side. Those are the, I've been away for a few years. Those are the ones I'm aware of. I don't know if, I don't think we took any away. We only have one Vista Trail for hiking. Okay. Funnel bypass. That's Vista Trail coming through there. So we'll check it out. If you have a specific spot of where you think it's mixed up, we'll take a look at it. But there is only one trail. Right. Yep. Government is biking and hiking, yes. Yes.
The other point on our trail is Summit. If you leave from the top of the gondola and head right and go up, the Sierra Loop goes out, and then the Summit signs disappear, and you're randomly on a mountain until they merge again.
So have you been taking the Rabbit Run Trail to the junction of the Summit and Sierra Loop trails and then breaking off from there? That's the designated route this summer.
I walk below the little catwalk thing.
So you're working on the road.
Well, you go around, there's a sign that says Summit Trail. You start up, and then all it goes, you get two signs, Sierra Loop goes two ways.
That's because it's a loop. Okay. So we'll check at the Summit list. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah. And we have other trails in the works for the next couple of summers. We'll be adding a few more mountain bike trails as well for the downhill community. And the Farm to Tables have been super successful. We're leaving here shortly to attend tonight's Farm to Table. And we decided to run the El Camp chairlift during the Farm to Table so that the guests can go up and either mountain bike or sightseeing in the evening, which has been a big hit as well. So things have been going well. I'm going to turn it over to Katie for snowmaking, and then we'll be here for any questions.
Are there any hiking trails planned to be added?
At this time, no. We're focused on the mountain bike trail because we have a 3-year contract with Gravity Logic to build trails. So we're still finishing out that program.
So Farm to Table, you could ride the chairlift to the top with no additional ticket?
Correct.
Ooh, you don't advertise that well.
We just decided to do it 2 weeks ago. We had a bike ride. Yep, we're staying open until dusk. It's been about 7 o'clock at this point, last ride coming down. So after this,
Susan,
maybe
if
you
I
can
could-
head that way.
If I could ask two questions.
Sure.
One is, I find it incredible that at the end of the mall, the sign that's sitting there right now is of the winter ski trails.
The
This
trail
is-
map sign.
This is summertime.
Mhm.
Why don't we have maps there of the summer trails? And we've had that same problem every year. And I think we were visiting other resorts this summer, and you get off the gondola and there's the big sign, hiking trails, biking
Yep.
trails, right in your face. I would urge us to try to get out of the winter-only mode on our signage and
Sure.
let's incorporate summer because we're trying to build that up. And number two, while the increase of amenities at El Camp is truly impressive, I think we've lost sight of free stuff for kids to do. Jungle gyms, ponds, but you look around, while you can do a lot of stuff, it costs money.
Right.
Other places don't have that issue. Other places provide free gym sets, everywhere on the mountain as well as Base Village, et cetera, for example. That's not your preview.
Right.
But I would encourage you folks to take a hard look at sort of upping the ante for helping kids have fun. Right now, you come off the end of the mall, and you know what the kids can do? Zero.
Cornhole, that's the only thing.
That's it.
Outside the ranger station.
That's it.
Right.
That's sad.
So that's a good point. You know, the portal is Base Village, but we do have people entering from the mall heading down Skittles. So I'll readdress the winter signage. We do have the trail map, summer trail map at Elk Camp, and the maps available at the Base Village. And then secondly, kids' things were restricted on what property we own and what we don't. So it's a good point.
I understand there's many shareholders in
Right.
all of this,
Yep.
but to the guest, it doesn't matter.
To your point, the best thing we did was bring back a sandbox at the top of Elk Camp because that was
Oh, absolutely.
taken away by the Forest
love
Service,
playing
but
in
we
that.
did get it
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah.
it's been a big hit.
No, I agree, but I think
Yep.
I think we need to pay some attention
Sure.
to that.
Good point.
Okay.
Thank
One
you.
more question, Susan.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, a part-time resident that can't be here today asked me to bring up the issue with you folks about uploading and downloading at Two Creeks all season long, not limited to the sort of special events and not limited just to the winter season. In part to relieve the parking problem at Base Village, but in part because that's the best way for a lot of the homeowners in that area to get up to Elk Camp.
I
So is
hear
there-
what you're saying, and we're going to defer to Katie because
Okay.
that's on her list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Katie, take charge.
Everyone, real quick, if you're gonna ask a question, please use a microphone, because we can't hear you.
If you're going to ask a
Travis?
question, please use the microphone, is what was stated. I'm Katie Ertl. I grew up in the Valley and a longtime resident, and I have been with Ski Company for 31 years. Most of my time has been spent in the ski and snowboard schools, and I've just recently switched over and I'm working with mountain operations, and I'm very excited about the role. So I'm here today to talk about snowmaking. Unfortunately, Debbie, not especially at Two Creeks, but I thought I'd give an update regardless, and then we can talk about Two Creeks if that's what's on everyone's mind. So just threw a photo up here to show you some of the work that's been going on in front of the Spider Savage Race Arena cabin. We've got some pipe replacement. This is what it looks like in a lot of places on the hill with Fanny Hill cabin, and we're going to be working on Adams Avenue. We're putting a new system in on Upper Adams Avenue and Lower Adams Avenue. We are not hitting all of Upper Adams Avenue this year, but we do have a Forest Service process, NEPA, going on right now to get Lunkerville involved by 2019. So we will have Adams Avenue top to bottom, hopefully by the end of summer 2019. So if you can go to the next, you have a map here, and what you're looking at, everything in the yellow is remaining pipe that's original. We are replacing a lot of that this year. What you see in red is currently what's replaced or new since 2007. And then the blue is where we're looking at putting pipe in as we go forward. And I'm sorry, I don't have a, Travis, does this have a pointer? So you can see right here, we're looking at bringing Adams Avenue across. This year we will have up here? Maybe. Sorry, this blue line right here, this is Upper Adams Avenue, so we really want to make a connection from Elk Camp back down to the bottom of Chair 8 is our goal this year, so we'll be coming down Slider here. This gap right here, we will be able to push snow, so hopefully make that connection, or hopefully, fingers crossed, it snows enough that we don't need it. And then we will connect from here down this year. So for 18-19, we'll have most of that connection on Adams. And then next year, summer 19, we just walked this line right here in hopes of having Lodgepole and Lunkerville for return skiing for our guests. So what we have found at Snowmass is that we have a lot of egresses that take you to a terminus, but not return skiing. And so our goal, and also what we have approval to do in the master plan currently, is Lodgepole and Lunkerville. You can also see Turkey Trot, which is, sorry, I'm not great with the pointer, which comes from here, Alpine Springs, over to Elk Camp, but we're not going to have that in line for next summer. So in reference, Deb to Two Creeks and snowmaking, what we have right now is access to a fire hydrant at the bottom of Two Creeks to put snow at the load ramp, and we have access to snowmaking at the top that we can cover the top ramp, but we don't have anything in between. And as it stands right now, we'll have to go through a new Snowmass master plan, get that approved through an EIS before we can actually have snowmaking top to bottom on Two Creeks. But that said, if we get early snow, and Susan and I spoke about this earlier, we are more than willing to have the conversation about opening Two Creeks as early as possible. In 1997, we ended up opening that in November, early in the season after Thanksgiving, because we did have the snow available. But with that elevation and with that aspect, we've struggled to get snow top to bottom. In reference to upload and download right now, always willing to have the conversation, but we do have to look at, over Christmas, we did run upload, download. Two Creeks has 50% download capacity. So you can load 100% of chairs going up, and you can load every other chair coming down. And over Christmas, our top day was 100 riders on that chair. So it's a tough chair to keep open when we don't see a whole lot of traffic over there. Granted, it was upload, download only, but we didn't see what our hope was to see that relief in parking and people using that portal. But we're very open to the conversation, but just having to be responsible business, we need to have a good reason to do that.
Yeah.
So some of the other projects that, can you go one more forward, Travis? Thank you. That I just wanted to let you guys know, for Up for Pizza, if you've been up there, we're doing a remodel. We've got new siding, new windows, some new carpet, and we're giving the whole place a refresh. And that does include the patrol headquarters, which is down below this building. We've got a drinking tank reline, which none of you will see, but you will enjoy. It's the services are Uhlerhof, Lindbrick Cabin, and Spider Savage Race Arena. And then we've got big efforts for critical grooming, which will help us, in our hopes is that with less snow, we can open more runs. If we keep the trees and brush and grass short and do a lot of rock picking and matting where we can get something like Two Creeks open with less snow. And that's one of our big pushes on all 4 mountains, but especially Snowmass, is to make sure we're having critical grooming. Right now we've got 2 crews out there working this summer on that. And that is all I have.
And
So-
just to follow up on the one issue about the snow at Two Creeks, especially since last year was a particularly thin snowfall season, I know one of the concerns that was voiced to me by, again, part-time residents is the terrain park takes a good deal of snow to build those obstacles and things. Is there some kind of balance that can be struck to bring some of that snow to maybe the parts of Two Creeks to make that open in particularly low snowfall seasons like last year?
That's an interesting question, and I think it's an infrastructure question. So when we can put 30 million gallons of snow down on a run, which is about what it takes to make a park that large, it's because we have the pipes and hydrants to do so. Okay. Over on Two Creeks, we don't have that available. Again, top is supplied by the line that comes down towards Funnel. So we do have infrastructure up there, but at the bottom, we're working off a fire hydrant, basically. So we're working off town water.
So it's basically what you explained earlier.
It would be bucketing and moving snow, but it's an extraordinary process to move snow a short distance. So to get it over to Two Creeks would be tough.
Yeah,
Mhm.
gotcha. Thank you.
But farming is another option. If we have the snow and we can pull it out of the trees and keep it on the run, that can help us. But
okay.
I saw in the paper that between 4 and 9 tonight, the gondola is free. Is that true?
For farm to table, yes. Every Tuesday night in the summer, we have free access up for farm to table dinners.
Back to the snowmaking thing on Two Creeks. I'm Bill Bueno. I manage the Pine subdivision, and we have our own snowmaking equipment over there. We spent quite a bit of money with help of the ski company and telling us what we need to do to get it. But you have to remember last year was very warm, and you have to have optimal conditions to make snow. Granted, they had one snow gun down at the bottom of Two Creeks, but it was very limited when they could get to it, and I couldn't even make snow in my area. I listened to the ski company folks, and I do have one of my homeowners who's very concerned, would like to see the ski company put more down there. And I have to understand that they have the infrastructure on the other side of the mountain with the coolers and the pumps and stuff that we do not have on Two Creeks. So it is a challenge with weather conditions because you don't want anybody coming down Two Creeks and getting hurt. Right. But at the same time, you know, there could be possibly additional time if the weather is appropriate to do some more snowmaking. But again, with one hydrant down there, you can only do so much. And we appreciate all the stuff that ski company does do.
Thanks, Bill. And just to point out, our hope is in the future to look at the possibility of snowmaking up El Camp, up the Burn, if that were even a possibility. So if that does come to fruition and we do look at presenting a new Snowmass master plan, we will certainly bring this conversation into it to see if that's something that could be put onto the plan and if it's worth the efforts for us.
Great. Next question.
Any plans going forward to do a refresh on the Two Creeks Cafe locker rooms
Yes.
and the bathrooms?
Yes.
Which are like walking into a dungeon. So
I was supposed to stop by there and get a photo of that. Yes, we are actually looking at a refresh of Two Creeks. Don't have all the details on that, but our planning department with Dana Dalabetta is taking the lead on that. So we are looking at potential remodel inside, looking at refreshing the cafe. We'll look at the restrooms and rejiggering the locker room so it's more user-friendly, and then questioning, do we move lockers over to where ticketing is now and make it a more user-friendly opportunity for folks for seasonal lockers and day lockers? So those questions are being looked at, and hopefully in the next 2 years we're going to see that happen with capital approval.
So 2 years.
Hopefully, yeah. Not guaranteed, but it is definitely a conversation that's being had right now.
Well, thank you very much, Katie and Susan. Those were very informative presentations, and thank you for answering all of our questions. I really appreciate that. I hope we
Thank
get
you
a
for
chance
having
to
us.
see you.
I'm just going to leave some business cards with you, Debbie, so if anyone needs to get in touch with myself or Susan, you have access to that, and we'd love to see photos of hiking trails and things that might help us present everything better for the guest that's out there.
Great. Thanks so much. Okay, now on to our last and fabulous tourism director. Yep, always the best. That's you, Rose. Let me introduce, please, Rose Abello, the Director of Tourism here in the town of Snowmass Village. Welcome.
Yeah, well, here we go. I'm going to look at this. Look at that. Great. Well, welcome. Is everybody tired? Yeah. This is all the exciting part. I'm going to try to go really quickly. I'll be sure to just stop me if we have questions, but I know that we've run a little bit. We're going to over time. So I was going to give you a little bit of a business update, talk about what we have going on with special events, talk about our group sales efforts, and then a little bit of a marketing update. How about that? Good? All right, let's go. Speed, what?
Way to go.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let's see if I can, if this one will do this. Travis's fancy little gizmo. That doesn't work.
I can't get it to work.
Okay, so I'm going to just go next. Okay, so how's business, right? So I thought we'd take a little bit look back. It was, as we've talked about, a pretty dry year. All of us were wringing our hands about how we were going to finish the year, and actually we did okay. So our average occupancy was relatively flat for the season. We were down just under 1%. December we were down, January we were down, February we're up. March we were down substantially, but then April we were up a ton, right? The April number, it really has to do with when DAV falls, the Disabled American Veterans, and they come in the last Saturday of the month of March, and this year that was like March 31st, I think, because it was Easter Sunday on the 1st. So that whole group went into April. There are these tiny little superscripts there. If you can read them, you have better eyesight than I do. But what that is we subscribe to a service that gives us this information that tells us how do we fare competitively with 17 other resorts. And they share with us how the other resorts do. We know who we are on the list, and we know who Aspen is, and the others are blind, so we don't know who's where. But the reason I have this is that we were number 1 in occupancy among all resorts that are in this service for February. We were number 2 in January. We were number 3 in March and number 2 in April. So that's really good. I mean, given how we opened and the conditions, and hats off to Skico for how they managed the terrain, given the number of acres we opened with the 50th anniversary and 12,500 ski lift tickets. So that, I mean, hats off, Katie, to you and your team for, I think it's pretty impressive. So occupancy was down just under 1%, but our average daily rate at the lodges, and these are the lodges who report, was up 13% for the season. And RevPAR, which is a hospitality industry term, it stands for revenue per available room. It's always significantly lower than the average daily rate because you actually use a much bigger denominator. That was up 7.2% for the season. So despite the, call it disappointing snowfall, we did pretty well. So I think that speaks well to our brand. I think that speaks well to our international guests. I think that speaks well to the fact that we're more of a fly-to than a drive-to destination in the winter. So I thought then other key metrics we look at our tax revenues. We have our numbers through May, so that includes and that's year to date. Our marketing tax fund's up about $89,000, and our lodging revenue fund is up about $27,500. This is I call it the EKG. It kind of tells you where we were last year, where we are year to date, and what the changes are. And it's really hard to read, so I'm going to summarize it better on the next slide. There we go. So kind of looking at our past summer occupancies. Since 2012, our summer occupancy has grown 83.2%. That is a very deliberate effort on a part of many, many people with our event strategy, group sales efforts, and it's not just Snowmass Tourism. I'm not saying that we did it all. I mean, a lot of people in this village are working together to build our summer business. And similarly, that RevPAR number, that revenue per available room, since 12 is up 138%. So summers are happening here, and we don't even have an impact of the Lost Forest. It opened on the 22nd or something like that of June. So we've got a month in, and anecdotally, we understand the numbers are doing well. Apparently, you can't park, and all that is theoretically good. So how's summer pacing? May was up, and May's a really light month. We have a lot of properties that are closed in May. But our, May was up in occupancy by 22%, RevPAR 44, tiny little base. Those are big numbers, percentages, but it doesn't, it's a drop in the bucket. June was up 3.4% in occupancy, and we were flat in RevPAR. July's numbers literally came in a minute before I came down here, and we were all kind of wondering the fire impact. 4th of July on a Wednesday? That just messes up the whole weekend. Which weekend are you going to take? So I actually made a phone call to make sure I had the right data. I'm not kidding you, right before I put this up. So occupancy for July was up 3% and 7% in RevPAR, and hot off the press. We've all been saying we thought we were going to be down given the fire effect and all the rest, and the 4th of July thing. And also this year, because of 4th of July, our event schedule took a little bit of a break around 4th of July because it's really hard to do big events the weekend before and after 4th of July, like people are in 4th of July mode. So looking forward, August is looking like it's going to be a record, and that's off of a really good year, and September is going to be really strong. So despite all of the bumps in the road, it looks like this is going to be a good summer. Now, summer, from the last time this report was done, so July was down 6% year over year. And so July moved 19 percentage points in the month for the month from the June 30th report. So last minute business, people coming. Hopefully we're all offering them great great experiences and some fun while they're here. All right, so let's look at the event. So one of our messages, and hopefully you've seen this, and I'll show you some of the creative in a minute, is we're going really strong with the messages. There's always something happening in Snowmass. Tuesday's the farm to table that Katie and Susan told you about. Wednesdays is the rodeo that Marky told you about. Thursdays is our free concert series. We listen, we heard loud and clear, stop moving the dates, put them on Thursdays. They're all on Thursdays with, I like to say, 2 bonus Saturdays. And those bonus Saturdays are the Deaf Camp benefit, which has a different format. It's a fundraiser. Who was at the Spin Doctors? Right? It's the nobody even noticed the power was out, and we started an hour and 15 minutes late. It was a super fun show, even without music. I said we don't even need to hire bands anymore. Everybody's having a great time, and nobody's playing. And then we start the season with a Saturday concert with the beer festival, and that has proven to be a good formula for us. Fridays on the Mall. Has anybody been up to Fridays on the Mall? The music festival students are playing. We're really trying to program that and get people, what we heard from the lodges and we heard from folks is people get here for the weekend event, and then what are they going to do Friday night? And so we programmed 10 of these this year. There's a couple of them left, so get up there. So the festival students are playing. There's games. There's things for kids. Check it out if you haven't been there. And then on the weekends, almost every weekend, we have special events. So Marky mentioned this. On the concert Thursday, this is our community photo from last year. It kind of blends in, so we changed the 20s to yellow so that it was gray, so they kind of blended in, those people those newcomers. So be there, be square. It's going to be at the intermission of the concert, and it'll be a lot of fun. And we make this photo, Travis will put it on the website, everybody can download it and have this photo. So we share it with everyone, so please come out and represent. I'll be in green, if anybody was wondering. So Fridays on the Mall, I talked about it every Friday through the 17th, 5 to 8, extended business hours. More vendors up there, some specials with the restaurants and stuff. Check it out. I'm trying to go fast. So looking back, this is our list of events that we've done. Again, super busy. I'd say this year, if I was here a year ago, I'd been like, oh yeah, that 4th of July thing didn't work so well. This year I'm saying they pretty much seem to have worked as we expected. There's always ways to improve. So if you have feedback on any specific event and how we can make it better, let us know. I do like the way what we did with the beer festival that starts this summer concert series. It's on a Saturday. It's when Ragnar Trail finishes. So we have all those people who have been running for 24 hours, and I think they need a beer. And it worked well because we've sold out this event 2 years in a row, and the concert's great. So hopefully people will realize, hey, you got to get your tickets early. We're starting to sell stuff out. That's good. So looking forward, hey, there's still a ton to go. This weekend is Ragnar Relay. That's the group that runs. So they'll be on the Rim Trail this Saturday. So if you are those hikers who are, we normally hike from up Brush Creek to down to the rec center. They're going to be coming the other way, and it'll be a couple thousand runners who will have started at Copper Mountain at noon the day before, so they're going to be tired. But anyway, cheer them on if you're out. It's actually a super cool hike to do on that day, going the way we normally hike it, because it's just so cool to see these people hiking at the end of such a big race. So for mere mortals, there's a 5K on the mountain, sort of normal 5K. It's really more of a hike on Sunday. It's sponsored by the ranger station. The circus is coming to town. Bring your kids, your grandchildren. This will be maybe the last year of the Zope Circus here. I've heard that they may not tour Colorado next year, so they may not come. So if you've been putting it off, get your tickets. They have a ton of shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This weekend, that 18th, is the Snowmass Loop Mountain Bike Fondo. Tough Mudder is back with thousands of people for that weekend of August 25, 26. JAS sold out Saturday, sold out Sunday. I heard that they expect to sell out Friday, probably tomorrow. So if they do that, it'll be the first year they've sold out all 3 shows.
Great.
So lots going on there. The Balloon Festival is after that, the weekend after that, and then we have Septemberfest, which takes place in Base Village before this night glow at the Balloon Festival. And then up on the mall that afternoon, there is a hard cider festival that Daily Bottle Shop is helping to put on, and it's called Cider Mass. So lots to see and drink that weekend. Then the car race and the Motoring Classic is back. Last year we did the race on a Thursday, I believe, and the feedback we got so many people who loved that race. Anybody who saw it, it was just so much fun to watch. But the feedback we got is that we did a car show on Saturday, and then if you went to the car show, the race was done. So the car show is going to be Saturday in conjunction with the wine festival across the field from the wine festival. And then the races are going to be Sunday, Monday. So we heard a lot from parents, hey, can you do it on a day I can bring my kid to watch this race? So we are. And then at the end of September, we have the Golden Leaf, not an event we put on, but it's super popular and sells out usually within a week of going on sale. And then the CU Snowmass Collegiate Bike Race Series. So it's a busy summer. We have a great events team that puts all this stuff together. Again, all about feedback, so let us know how we can improve anything that we're doing. Our group sales efforts are important. I think that's why you'll see a really busy August and September. So this summer, working with the lodging community, our team has brought in 27 groups with about 12,400 room nights and a bunch of weddings and tour operators. It's a really nice base to have for all this in-month for the month, and it's just, they book a year or two out. So we had a few groups with the fire with all the airport flight disruptions, but they all made it in. All the groups made it in. They might have had to bus from Junction or something, but it's just such an important base of business. And then we did this we worked with just about every group player in the community to host some of the most important meeting planners. We did this great weekend showing off, and we're already starting to see business from it. So this is like an example of it takes a village to pull this off and, host. It was a group of about 40 all told, and we did the rodeo and the concert and the Lost Forest and showed them all the meeting space. So I think that'll pay off well. I took a quick look at our winter group business, always important. We get so much continuing medical and continuing legal education, as well as certainly a ton of ski clubs. There's about 32 groups on the books so far for this winter season, and that's about 21,000 room nights that they've contracted. And that's just the stuff we touch. I mean, obviously, all the properties that have meeting space have their own sales team, and they're working hard to book business too. Looking at our marketing, am I going fast enough? Okay, all right. So all of our marketing messages is based on this brand platform, and this is and it's really about the fact that we're embraced by nature. So the idea, and when we look at what makes us special, is we take that idea of that we're 95% ski in, ski out, and say, what does that mean? And the thing is, you're right at nature's doorstep here, and so we want to communicate that. And so I just put this up because this is our touchstone. We want to be, our brand values about exploration and joy and connectedness, and we're genuine and we're soulful and we're inclusive. We invite people in, we're approachable. And you see that in our campaign. We have a pretty robust campaign in the summer. We do what we call our destination markets, and then we also do the drive to market. So that first bullet is really who drives here, and that's a more important part of our business, certainly in the summer than the winter. It'll be interesting to see what the Icon Pass does to our business as, Aspen Snowmass in general. But then we put some ads in the what we call our direct fly markets, and then we also invest in the New York metro area and South Florida, and our research shows this is where people come from, so that's why we do it there. We target our audience, and then for people who would fly here, we tend to put our ads out between April and July, and then the drive-to people start mid-May, and they go all the way through September, so they come up for the events. We are, print-wise, we were this summer in Outside Magazine and in Texas Monthly and 5280 and Denver Life and Springs, which is in Colorado Springs. Then a ton of digital, and then we also in the summer do billboards. We have 3 billboards in Denver. We have 2 in Grand Junction and 1 in Larkspur, which is between the Springs and Denver on that I-25, I think, corridor. And what that does, and all our billboard buys are digital, so we can rotate through our events. And so I'll just kind of quickly go through some of the creative. This campaign is, we call it Would You Run Away With Me campaign, and you can kind of see that on the bottom. Let's see, did we have a... Nah, this thing is dead. Okay, but anyway, it's a campaign you might be familiar with. We've been using this campaign both in summer and winter for the past 3 years. We are going to launch a new campaign very soon, which I'm not going to show you because I'll tell you where you can see it. But this just a close-up. So in the print publications, we tend to run a page and a third. The page is, beautiful and poetic, and then the third is our event-driven. And again, you can see that Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays messaging, plus a bunch of special events that we choose to put in the print publications. This is an example of the billboards that you might see for all the different events and for the brand. I like the headlines, you know, what if your personal best wasn't a time, right? What if the stars were the encore for our concert series? Our marketing team does a great job with our ad agency, I think, in developing very clean and differentiated campaigns. What if you can fly through the forest for the lost forest that we're, you know, new this summer? We obviously, well, not obviously, but we do, like any marketer these days, we do a ton of social advertising. This would be a Facebook kind of thing, sponsored post. We do things called carousels, and you know, you can scroll through these, or you can shake your phone and it takes you through the different images just to engage. We have seen about a 50% increase in our video completion rates. Video is an important part of our strategy because it's beautiful, right? Who doesn't want to look at a video from here? It's like a moment of like, then locally, we do a ton of work to support the businesses here. We have, you know, dining ads and shopping ads, and something about the bar scene and our very important kids program. We have a new thing about sort of this weekend Snowmass with all the, again, that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday messaging. And we also support sort of a weekly This Week in Snowmass that kind of lays out what's going on this week, plus the upcoming event calendar. We're in the Aspen Times, the Snowmass Sun, the Daily News. We have big sort of this in their summer guides. We're on KSPN, The Lift, Aspen Public Radio. New this year, we're on RAFTA buses. We thought that would be fun. And then somebody told me that they'd like to have the business of our posters, because we put up posters every week. They said, wow, that's got to be the best business. So we do event posters and concert lineup posters in a weekly, you know, summer monthly schedule. But then we also have a weekly poster for what's coming up this week that we there's a guy we call the poster man, comes, picks them up, puts them all around the valley. So we really want to get the message out to people in the community of all the things that they can do here. Tons of rack cards, top 10 brochures, a summer guidebook that has a lot of details, information on what our very important kids program, we call it BIK Snowmass. And then we maintain 4 websites. So we maintain Go Snowmass. A couple years ago, we launched something called Bike Snowmass, and right here at this meeting, somebody said, well, that's stupid, do Hike Snowmass. So we did. And so if you haven't checked it out, if you're a hiker, that will clearly tell you which trails are hike only and bike only. If you need a suggestion of where to bike and what to do based on your level, your activity, go check it out. If you're an avid hiker or biker and you read this and you have input for us, give it to us, please. We like it. And then we do a VIK Snowmass. You know, this is our bike and the hike trail, they're really microsites of our Go Snowmass site. So you can see, you come into bike, dirt or asphalt. So do you want road rides or mountain bikes? Rides. And it has every trail, elevation, distance. We call them like pro tips. So ride this clockwise, ride it counterclockwise. Be careful on top. We do a lot of messaging here about interface between bikes and hikes. So any input you have, again, you guys know, a lot of you probably just spend all day hiking. I spend all day in this office. But, you know, if you have good information, share it with us, because nobody's perfect here. We've also spent a lot of energy this year really doing new blog content. I mentioned how successful our videos have been, and people are just hungry for Snowmass information. So we've got all sorts of content. Tips for an affordable getaway, secret view of the Maroon Bells. By the way, it's the top of the Elk Camp chairlift. Don't try to go up, the fear of missing out. Don't miss these unique Snowmass experiences. The deal with Mount Daly. What is that stripe? And what we do is we share this with our marketing partners in the lodges, and they can just take one of these stories and put it in one of their newsletters. And they can just push it out there. If you guys have friends come in to visit and you want to send them some stuff, just go to our website. You can find any of these little stories, stuff that's free in Snowmass to do, top 10 summer activities. So we've been having a lot of best hikes when you're with multi-generations, best hike when you're this or that. So go check those out. We have a very aggressive PR program. We've had hosted media from Germany, Mexico, the UK. We do a bunch of individual media visits to get great editorial coverage, and so that is ongoing and keeps us super busy. We partner on the international stuff with the Aspen Chamber because we feel like when people come from Germany, they're not coming for 4 days. I mean, they're coming for 10 days, and they're going to do both communities, so that works well for both of us. So what's next? So I mentioned, I think you guys were some of the first folks to see a sneak peek of our new ad campaign. We are going to launch it at Labor Day. It will be, coincidentally, that's the timing of when we start our winter advertising, is September. So if you all go to the JAS, go to JAS Village, and meet your outside side. That's the name of our campaign. There will be a fun interactive booth. You can put yourself in our campaign, which would be a lot of fun for you to do. You can email those photos to yourself, share them. And we will be here with, I believe it's on the 20th, we're going to present the new campaign to Town Council. So tune in, check it out. Rumor has it that the grand opening celebration for Snowmass Base Village will be December 15th. I have a meeting about that tomorrow with what they're planning, and so we'll see how we can layer on that and help. You know, guest services, we run Ice Age Discovery Center and Town Park Station. We've had a successful some more program. Somebody in my office was trying to calculate the calories we gave out, but I think we gave out just under 65,000 s'mores this past winter season. It has been very well received. Everybody loves those little marshmallow carts. I call them the marshmallows. If you haven't seen, we think they're adorable. Everybody wants to borrow them, apparently. And we'll continue that next winter season as well. The Ice Age Discovery Center, as most of you know, many of you may know, the Snowmass Mall has been sold, and the Romero Group bought it, and we have been given notice that we need to vacate that space. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with the Ice Age Discovery Center before we move down, theoretically, Snowmass Discovery into Building 6. So we're floating some ideas with that and, you know, kind of how we're going to manage for this next season and then probably next summer, because from what I hear, it looks like the move-in date there will be sometime summer of 19, but not for the summer of 19. So we've got that going on. Other than that, really not much. That's all I got. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Speed talking.
Amazing. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask Rose before we conclude? Seeing none. Thank you so much, Rose, and thank you everyone for coming. We look forward to seeing you again next time for our winter meeting. In the meantime, just a reminder, we have our volunteer project tomorrow, 9 a.m. at the, where?
Rec Center.
Rec Center. All right, thank you everyone
Outside of
for
the rec
coming.
Thank you. That was good.
Thanks, everyone.
Well done.